Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure and honor to moderate these sessions. We have three great speakers from three great universities in Southeast Asia to share with us how they see their role in building a vibrant startup ecosystem in their respective cities. As we all know, Southeast Asia now has become a hotbed for startups, and we all know that university is really the source for all the talents and for all the new knowledge. And so it's exciting to see how the university can play a pivotal role in stimulating the growth of a startup ecosystem in each of their countries and cities. So I think you have just been informed of the background of the three speakers here. So in the interest of time, I would actually like to sort of start by immediately inviting them to each share a little bit their own perspective of their visions of how they hope to contribute to build up the startup ecosystem in their respective cities, and what are the concrete project and program that they have implemented, and what are the new sort of organizational initiatives they have established in their university to facilitate this process. So maybe to help us get started, can I invite Professor Gadjah from Chulalongkorn University, the top university in Bangkok, to share her perspective. Gadjah?
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Professor Wongpokam, for arranging this great event and kind introduction to all of us. Well, startup friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very excited to show you what we have done in the past and why university is engaging in startup ecosystems. Well, first of all, I would like to explain about the role of universities in giving a case of Chulalongkorn University and ASEAN University Network Innovation and Enterprise in building a vibrant tech startup ecosystem in Southeast Asia and the role of our university. Well, let me explain briefly about Chulalongkorn University. We are the first and the oldest university in Thailand and was founded by King Rama V over 102 years ago as a Thailand main institution for higher education. We have more than 3,000 faculty members who are outstanding in national and international awards with over 38,000 students, undergrad and postgrads. And our alumni are positioned in the world-renowned public and private institutions. We are a comprehensive university covering the entire academic disciplines. The campus is situated right at the heart of Bangkok, center of many transportation routes. And why we are doing startup ecosystems is due to the global changes of the industry and societal needs towards Industry 4.0 and SDG goals, as well as the student learning preference are different from the past. They demand individualizations, they demand real-world experiences, they demand global exposure and lifelong learning. Therefore, it is undeniably that the role of research university have to change to address its new opportunities and challenges. And in order to regain the public trust that people are investing in education and they're looking for the return on investment on this, the university governance therefore need to change. And the role of being an innovator, connector, and agent of change has been introduced, in addition to the traditional role of the university as being an educator, knowledge generators, and societal problem solver. Startup ecosystem will bring in universities, firms, governments, agencies, and individuals together as a network to engage in resource sharing, in cooperative innovation, business development, technologies transfer, and transformation of the higher education. Research universities are the sites of cutting-edge technologies, deep tech, equipping with big pool of talents, like Professor Wongpokam just mentioned, and startup, we need talents to help us bringing research and bringing new cutting-edge ideas into impacts. Therefore, university or higher education become a central component of national level innovation ecosystems to meet the demand of the increasingly complex industry, innovation industry. There are three critical strategies that research universities should deploy in order to gain and build a successful ecosystem for startup. Return on investment is something that we have to consider, engagement and communications. At Chulalongkorn University, innovation and entrepreneurship are our priorities. Our vision is to be a world-class national university that generate knowledge and innovation necessary for the creative and transformation of Thai society. We have first started 3 years ago with the CU Innovation Hub, where we're focusing on three main missions. So we're setting up this innovation hub in the second building, as you can see, a brand new building at the campus. We develop innovation ecosystems there on three missions. The first mission is entrepreneurship development. We nurture talent through developing creativities, critical thinking, and entrepreneurial skills to students. Second mission is research to commercial, or we help establishing innovation enterprises through promoting cross-disciplinary research and collaborations and commercializations, the idea. Lastly, our third mission is community development, where we engage our startups to benefit Thais and global society. And then the second year, we're starting Siam Innovation District, a public-private partnership platforms where we transform the Siam Square area, Suan Luang Samyan, which is the heart of Bangkok, into a smart and intellectual communities where we help grooming startups and reaching to global communities. Also, we are linking with our ASEAN University Network, University Innovation and Enterprise, that all the presidents in 30-member university has agreed that we should setting up this network together and build this ecosystem for ASEANs. So we have been collaborating with University of Gadjah Mada as well as in Vietnam as well. So these are something that we have done. And not only that, we are engaging with other countries such as NUS Enterprise, Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Laos, Philippines, Cambodia, Brunei, and of course Thailand. And since the foundation of CU Innovation Hub and Siam Innovation District in 2016, now we have groomed over 100 startups in the portfolio with a total market valuation of 0.5 billion US dollars, benefiting over 1 million citizens. And we have trained over 6,000 students promoting innovation, nurturing cultures, and global engagement through AUN members. Our innovation focusing on 5 themes according to the global trends and also our focus. The first cluster is on health innovation or medical innovation. The second cluster focusing on sustainable development, which SDG goals are 17, but for us, we're drilling down into 3 clusters: food, energies, and water. And then the third research and innovation cluster focusing on smart city and inclusive community. And then the fourth is on innovative education and digital economies and robotics. Some examples of our established startups such as QQ, which the CEO of QQ is giving a talk today at the Innovfest too. Take Me Tour, Merticuli, Titanium Bones, Viabus, and several others, which all of them can assemble and develop an examples of smart city for a province. And that is the second initiative. And then recently, just last year, in response to the 4th new economies model, Chulalongkorn University just recently launched a new International Academy for the Futures. We call under the faculty level School of Integrated Innovation. And the school provides a transdisciplinary platforms in the context of futures-oriented, demand-driven education, research, and innovation enterprises. And the school is now offering Bachelors of Arts and Science in Integrated Innovation, or we call BASAI. And this is the first of its kind in Asia to provide a transdisciplinary platforms in the context of future-oriented education towards global sustainability and international talented students. So these are the 3 initiatives that we have done, and we are open to discuss more on this.
Great. Thank you very much, Nacha. I'm sure there are a lot more you could share, and maybe we could do that during the Q&A period. I just want to add that I have visited the Times Square where the innovation hub of Chula is. And Chula is a great location because it's right in downtown Bangkok, and it's an excellent place where all the young people congregate. So they are really making a difference, yeah. And I'm also extremely impressed that they are starting a brand new undergraduate degree program focusing only on integrated innovation. This to me is a very interesting innovation by Chulalongkorn Universities. Before I move on to invite the next sort of panelists, I was reminded that afterwards during the Q&A, you could actually post questions on a platform called Slido. So please join slido.com and key in the keyword there, Innovfest Unbound, one word, and then that will allow you to key in any question you would like to pose to any of the members of the panel. And afterwards, we will then flash on the screen the questions that you are interested, and therefore we can pick some of those that the speakers would like to perhaps particularly respond to. Yeah? So please, in the meantime, do that, and allow me to then invite the second speaker, Pahago from UGM. Disilakan.
Thank you, Prof. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hargo, coming from University Gadjah Mada in Yogyakarta. It is central Java. Within a minute, I would like to share a bit about what I've been doing and involving over the last 5 years. We have been struggling to run what's so-called campus-based incubators. And over the last 5 years, there's a big challenge to build up what's so-called new ecosystems for not only students actually, but also for researchers and also innovators in campus-based. You know what, at that time, it's a big jump between 5 years ago and now. What I'm trying to say in here is that over the last 5 years, we have been managing almost 4,000 participants involving in a program what I called Innovative Academy. It is a kind of incubation process, bringing up talented students and also lecturers who are having such bright ideas, come up with products and process as well as solution for businesses. Over the last 2-3 years, the first 2-3 years, the big challenge is how to build up new awareness about how important of the solution, a business solution from the campuses. So that's why among 4,000 participants, finally we found almost 300 founders, co-founders, and from 300 founders, co-founders, we come up with 45 startups being incubated in our incubators, and amongst 54 incubators, come up 15 now in incubation process and 9 in acceleration process. So there's a big, a failure rate in that point. But at the same time, now the awareness of, the importance of startup are growing at the moment. So I'm not saying that it's not impossible. It's possible to now grown up not only from the single perspective. So the important issue is not how do we collaborate, how do we interact between one partners, one incubators and other incubators, especially in Southeast Asia. 5 years ago, it looks like that I'm on single fighters at that time. And looking other places, it's not easy because every single incubators look their own method, their own way of doing things. So it looks at a very exclusive. And finally, one day, when we are exclusive, we get nothing. We get, we got only small things. Now, and then we start thinking, but why don't we open up? Not only from within the regions, but also in other countries as well. So that's why we are now also open up the possibilities of interaction, not only from the universe perspective, but also for industry perspective. So previous sections also talking about the Singapore Alliance. So it looks like how bring the corporation into that kind of incubation is good effort, and now we are doing that kind of effort also. So based on what I've been doing over the last 5 years, at least there are 3 things that I can learn from it. So this is the one that I would like to share with you, all of us. First thing that the most important thing to build up incubation and also build up ecosystem of a startup in campus context is a talent management. It's a people management. You know what? Students sometimes got some bright ideas. Lecturers, innovators got bright ideas. But you know what? How the academic thinking, she knows about that. So the academics sometimes thinking with their own idealism, with their own framework, with their own paradigms. It's not that easy that industry might be get that ideas. So it means that there's a big gap in that the academic perspective and the industrial perspective. So build up a chemistry, build up new mindset of finding up solution and symbiotic mutualism amongst partners is important. In the student's perspective, sometimes they would like to take it an easy jump to become startup success because they learn from the success story. So learning from success story sometimes misleading. Joining into competition and grab the prize from the competition, sometimes misleading. So that's why in our incubators, I'm not really push them to join the competition directly unless we are aiming to. So it means that we don't want to drive the incubators to make it them to be glory winner, glory seekers, and prize winners, prize seekers, and ended up with get nothings. So it means that the maturity of the incubators, maturity of the talents relies on we are actually investing in people. We are not investing in companies and then sell them up the companies. It's just like the ventures might thinking up. The ventures 5 years ago only thinking and picking up the winners, picking up the harvest. So it means that they are only looking at the end. The biggest challenge is how to build up the people who do have their heart, come up with the solution with enabling technologies as a platform things. So this is the first issue that I'd like to mention. Second issue is, the big lesson coming from that is that how do we actually build up what I call it is technology competence, is technical competence. Build up ecosystem, we need some more engineers. We need some more people who do have mastering in engineering side. So it means as codings and sort of things are actually important at that one. And the growing demand of codings makes engineers sometimes become the most important people who are, and many people are seeking for them. And the over demand of them creates, sometimes changing the attitudes of being important people who are actually, and they priced more than they do sometimes. And it creates some opportunistic behaviors among them. They're jumping from one to another as a project basis. So it creates such kind of phenomenon that they're flying from one place to another and create them that they are actually, I'm important as a CTO or whatever the name of that. And in fact, it creates trouble, right? Because we need more than just the smart guys, but also smart attitudes in a way that, build up a good chemistries and best chemistries to find a solution. So the third lesson that I've learned from what I've been doing over the last 5 years is what I call the business acumen. Most students coming from university mostly lack of industrial experience. So we need more contact, we need more interaction, we need more mingling around with the industries so they know exactly what the industry expect from us. Students are normally looking at from the inward looking at the companies just, we can get the money. So I quoted from the Singapore Airlines guy. We are not just, get the money and they pick the money from the company. What I'm trying to say is what we need to and we need to push students and academics know exactly the language of the company, the language of the industries. So the money is not the end. The money is tools. The money will drive up the innovation. Finally, if we do have the same level of playing fields. So we are now at the stage that, look, academic, industries, and also the elements of the ecosystem should look at not the different high level, but that we are not at the same level. So the synergies between the talents, technical competence, and industrial perspective with a business acumen will lead up into such as a combination of startup who knows exactly what has been doing, what knows the problem of the industries and find out the solution. So by doing that, running the ecosystem is kind of long-term investment. So don't expect to pick up the result and harvesting in 1 to 2 years. It could be long. I always using. We are planting in and having a plantation. It's not just farming in 3 months picking the harvest. It is sometime we have to invest in 2-3 years time, and then we start picking the harvest in the year 4. After that, we keep harvesting for a long time. So it means that we have to build long-term commitment among partners and ready to struggle and fighting. So that's why the fighting spirit among the talents much important. And that's I do perceive that the fighting spirit is something that we have to fight to find out. That's the point.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Hago. What you said about your primary focus on really the long term, developing the talents, and also building the ecosystem take time. But this is a service, this is a role that university needs to play. This very much resonates with us in NUS in Singapore, because we are not a private VC or whatever. Our goal is a long-term, right, building and developing talent. So I hope later we could have further exchange on this. And let me now invite Professor T from VNU Ho Chi Minh City, another very vibrant startup hub in Asia. And he may share with us his particular role in the IT park in trying to stimulate this development. T? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Wang, for inviting me to this very fascinating event. That's the first time I joined the event. And thank you for Professor Nacha and Dr. Hago for facilitating my work, because you already explained on about the role of the university. Yeah. So I'm professor of Vietnam National University. This is the leading university in Vietnam now. We are a system of university with 6-member university and many belonging institutions. And IT Park is one of the belonging institutions of Vietnam National University. Since 2014, it's been 5 years ago, just like you, we started thinking about transforming ITB into an ecosystem and focusing on IT first. And at that time, the entrepreneurship and innovation is something new in Vietnam. And the reason why we have that idea is that after 30 years of renovation, the economy of Vietnam needs the new motivation for the development, and entrepreneurship and innovation are the key factors. So let's come back to the role of the university. I totally agree with Dr. Hago and Professor Wang that the major role of university is to provide the talent for the ecosystem. Our role is not to build up the startup directly. Yeah. And when we mention about talent, we have to mention about entrepreneur. We have to mention about tech talent. And we have to mention about the manager. Yeah. So that are the major role of the university in ecosystem development. And the reason why we have to develop an ecosystem at university, the reason is like that, we cannot teach entrepreneurship in traditional way. We must, the students have to experience themselves with the startup. That's the reason why we need an ecosystem closely embedded to the local ecosystem and the national ecosystem and regional ecosystem in the later stage, right? And that is the major role of university. The second role of university is that we have to agree that the university, especially research university, is the source of technology, new technology for the ecosystem. So we have to deploy the initiative to successfully commercialize the technology, the new technology, developed by the faculty. And the third role of university, the very natural role is that, at university we have very developed research lab. And this is a good infrastructure for the ecosystem, for the startup. They can come, they can use the facility and develop their product, in the early stage. So to be short, for me, the major role of university is to provide talent. And the second one, this is a source of technology. And the third one, this provide the infrastructure for the ecosystem. So that's my short vision about the role of university. And the vision of ITP, when you mention about the Singapore ecosystem, immediately we think about Block 71. And I hope that in the year coming, when you talk about the ecosystem in Vietnam, you think about ITP. And you all are invited to visit ITP in the near future. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor T. For those of you who have not visited any of the three universities startup support ecosystem, I strongly encourage you to go. I was lucky to have a chance to visit Gadjah last year. And while many people, when they think of Indonesia, they think of Jakarta. Actually, Gadjah is a hotbed of real strong entrepreneurial talents, and much of it is owed to the work of Pak Hago and UGM. Likewise, you go to Ho Chi Minh City, these days is a real hotbed of entrepreneurial startup, and many of these are actually benefited from the kind of support work that Professor T have done. So maybe before I open up for Q&A from the floor, perhaps I will take this opportunity to maybe say a little bit about what NUS in Singapore is doing also. Like our counterpart in other ASEAN countries, we also believe that our role as a university is really to help contribute to the building of the national startup ecosystem. So one of the major contribution that we try to do in NUS Enterprise is to help build up that support facilities. We have established a Block 71, not just in Singapore, but because unlike the other three countries, Singapore's domestic market is so small, we also have to think about how to help our startup, our students, and our alumni who want to start company, how to go outside Singapore. And that's why, besides establishing support facility in Singapore, we also established Block 71 outside Singapore. Today, we have Block 71 in San Francisco, we have Block 71 in Suzhou, China, and we have Block 71 in 3 cities in Indonesia, Jakarta, Gadjah, and also Bandung. And we are looking at hopefully expanding some support to Vietnam and to Thailand. So this is a long-term sort of community support goal that NUS hope to contribute. Then the other part, like what my panelists have mentioned also, is that we are very focused on developing entrepreneurial talents. And we had a program where we send our students to learn about entrepreneurship by not staying in Singapore, by sending them to leading entrepreneurial hubs around the world, to really spend 1 full year working as an intern in early stage tech startup company and live there for a year so that they really experience firsthand by immersing themselves in this hotbed. So the first place we started was Silicon Valley, but subsequently now we are into 12 cities around the world. We are in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen in China. We are in New York City and Toronto in North America. We are also in Munich, Stockholm, Israel. And we also started to send our students for internship in tech startup company in Indonesia and in Vietnam. This is all for the goal of really developing the entrepreneurial talents. So in some sense, we all share the same vision, but I guess we all maybe do it slightly differently, and I do hope that through this forum, we get to perhaps learn about how we may be able to do our work better. Now, as you can see here, some of the questions have already started to come out, and perhaps I may invite my panelists to see, would you like to pick on any of these 4 questions that is shown up here to give an answer? Who would like to go first? Okay, Nacha. Yeah.
Okay, so the ecosystem that we do support is not only our students. So there is one question asking, if I'm already alumni or maybe a citizen, how can I join? As I mentioned, we do Opening Siam Innovation District, and that platform is for all Thai and our international guests as well, in co-create, collaborate, and co-share our futures in developing startups. So we are a platform that linking governments, private sector, and the university together in building what we call futures startup and addressing, showing the impact to the society. And when we are talking about some questions about the mindset, so I really valued the ideas that our panel just mentioned, that we are not valued the success, we value the failure. And what we do at Chulalongkorn University, we do have one program called Fail Science. Or in another program, we call it what we call bankrupt before you graduate. We have that program. So we're giving the awards to the student who bankrupt the most, failed the most, and can come up again and again and again until it's success. So one of the startup I would say called Eat 'em All. This team coming from student on 3rd year in business school, joining with engineering school and language arts school together. And before the title of the business that they develop is not Eat 'em All, but it's something else. But they fail many times until they learn the best way. And then they become the winner of Digital Thailand startup last year in Thailand. And they win the biggest prize, like 700,000 baht, which is about 10,000 US dollars. So we call them, they become a millionaires before they graduate. So instead of we say that failure is bad, we value the failure. And this is one of the way we think we can incubate and also letting the student learn the best. And now we're setting up a new school of integrated innovation. In the past, it was a non-degree based programs. Now we're setting up as a degree-based programs, starting at undergrad level. We do believe that undergrad this day can develop innovation and startup successfully. So we redesigned the new curriculum that integrating all discipline together, not only science and tech, but arts, craft, liberal arts, and language arts too. We do have one startup based from Fashion Lab. So fashion can become a successful startup too. And they using the knowledge and research from liberal arts and designs and develop a successful startups. So we do cross-disciplinary among all the disciplines that we have, and supporting through, in NUS you have a lean launchpad. For us, we have A school programs, which is a similar kind of supporting startups successfully. So that's something that we use to develop mindset of understanding the failure and understanding customers, understanding industry more. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to invite Pahago and Professor T to answer this same question, but perhaps if you allow me to broaden the question, which is that, how do you support startup or the people interested in start company who not only are they not your current student, they may be even not your alumni. For example, if a Singaporean who want to go and start a company in Gadjah, how can they tap on UGM to help them? Likewise, if a Singaporean or a Thai want to go to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, how can they tap on your ecosystem? Yeah, please.
Great. This is the one that I would like to talk about. As I did mention to you, in the past, we are so exclusive in the way that we are only developing the incubators for our own. It's just like in other places as well. But this does not really work that way. Finally, we ended up with, okay, why don't we open up, limited the silos and break the wall, and then come up with a new way of thinking that build up ecosystem. We need to build a mutual trust and mutual benefit among partners. So that's why we are now open up, participant talent coming from not only students, but even also lecturers, researchers, alumni, and the publics. So that's why now we are inviting open, talent coming from other regions or even other countries. As long as we come up with the solution that we are aligned with the university mission. University mission is the three things: teaching, research, and community services. So it means that I think the university all over are actually aligning with that kind of. So the solution is not only for one single university, but for the humanity, of course. So it means that, yes, we are open to that kind of. So that's why in our portfolio now, there is talent and also co-founders coming from outside of Gadjah Mada, but they have to attach with students coming or scientists or innovators from the Gadjah Mada. So it means that we have to combine between something that within and also outside in. Secondly, I would like to also, answering the question about how we change the mindset. By open up that kind of boundaries, we now, step by step, leaving the, the arrogance in the past. Now we open up that, okay, industrial academia linkages is something that we have to, proceed. So it means that what? We are now quite often bring even the scientists, even the lecturers. I bring them to the corporate, and we build up what's called the corporate lab. So bring industry into campus. It means that we are having a chat and we're having a group of innovation and inviting industry into the campus, and then we discussing and come up with a solution. So we are being backed up with several companies who are actually working in that kind of. So by doing that, we make the scientists less arrogant, and we make the industry also less arrogant, because normally the companies, I do have the money. I can buy everything, or even I can buy the innovation, right? And now let's learn how the academics thinking, that the innovation is not just click in 1 second. We need, it takes time. And we bring up into common perception and then build up new way of communication that, okay, we know each other now. Now we come and move forward into that kind of solution. So it takes time. Changing the students' mindset, it could be relatively easy, right? But changing the lecturers and changing the innovators or researchers' mindset, it's a struggling. It's quite takes time. That's my experience there. But I have to move forward. Otherwise, no one will take that kind of risk. So I know it's risky, but I'll do that. And also thinking about how university the program with the industry program. Yes, we now making the by doing the corporate bring into the campus. We run a program with the industries, just like the Singapore Airlines, things like that. Not just the same, but looks like that kind of. But at least we do have partners who are working on and on all the times and working into that kind of innovation, come up into the real. Not only for, if you are asking about the gender, yes, we also invited, females and also, not only male, but also females. So make it balanced there now.
Okay, thank you. Professor Chi, you want to answer to that first question first?
First question? Yeah,
we,
the blue one.
We finish the first question first.
Okay. Okay. Let's I tell you our story. Okay, 5 years ago we started our ecosystem initiative, and when we talk about the ecosystem, the central of the ecosystem are the startup, right? And we consider startup the factory for students to learn entrepreneurship. So the first thing we have to do, like Hago already explained, is that we have to attract the startup from the community. So on the young talent that would like to start their business, we open the gate for them to get into the ITP. And we use the startup the factory for the student to learn on the entrepreneurship. And during the last 5 years, we strictly follow the 4 principles that highlighted by Texta, by Bradfeld. Maybe when you are in US, you know about Bradfeld, about Texta. That is the second accelerator program in the world. So he mentioned about 4 principles that we have to follow to build up the ecosystem. The first one, the ecosystem must be led by the entrepreneur, not by the university. And the second one, there should be the long-term commitment of the entrepreneur for the ecosystem building. So how do we translate that principle? The idea is that the infrastructure, the living infrastructure in this region must be good enough for the successful entrepreneur come and settle their living house there, their work there, the company there.
Yeah.
And the third principle that we must follow is that this ecosystem must be inclusive to everyone. To everyone, we should, how can I say, lower on of the barrier that restrict the engagement of the talent. And the fourth one, this place should be continually energized by action-based activity, not event-based activity. Let's explain to you the journey of an entrepreneur. So the journey of an entrepreneur includes 6 steps. The first step is that they are inspired by the successful entrepreneur. The second one, the interesting student or young people will try to discover about the entrepreneurship. And the third stage is that they will try to discover what is entrepreneurship, and then they will experience with the real project, okay? And later they start up themselves and scale up and become a successful entrepreneur. So university will focus on the 3 first stage. And let I come down with the last question. How do university measure return on investment? So we already agree in the beginning, the major role of university is to provide the talent, the potential entrepreneur, not the startup. And how do we measure the successful of the entrepreneurship initiative at university? One of the key KPI is how many graduates, okay, in 5 or 10 years later will become entrepreneur. So to us, this is the most important return on investment KPI of the university. All right.
Thank you. Okay, if I may take the prerogative as the moderator to pick the next questions, I'd like to focus on the question of how do we encourage more of our female student alumni, maybe female professors, to be interested in or involved in entrepreneurial activities. Do you have specific program in your university specifically targeted at helping, nurturing, and supporting your female student, alumni, and professors to start entrepreneurial activities?
Thank you, Professor Wong Pokam. I really like this question in specific, supporting women entrepreneurs and founders. Well, at Siam Innovation District, we just recently organized a seminar together with UN Women and also with EU on these topics in specific on ASEAN women leading innovation. And we found that when women become a founder, entrepreneur, it benefits society even more in 5 things. The first thing is on creating sustainable, because women tends to think more in terms of sustainability. That is something we raise up. It improves health. Women they are more likely to seek health care for their kids and also taking care of these issues well. Benefit family too, because women usually spend 90% of their earned income for their family. That is something statistic coming out. And it also enrich economies. When women are engaging in school and becoming more entrepreneurial, it generates GDP of the country more 3%, increase 3% more. And also it increased productivities of the output. So investing in women is essential. And then if we're looking at how we can encourage women to be part of the entrepreneur and founders more, 3 key success factors. The first one, giving them education. Like Professor Wong Po Kam mentions, if we're giving more education and allow equal opportunities for both male and female, that's benefits. Second, giving women technologies, especially digital technologies these days, is allowed women and men to be equal. And then it's opening the opportunities to develop startups easier. And lastly, giving women and male equal opportunities to conducting business and startup. So these are the 3 key supportive areas to support women in conducting entrepreneurship and also being a founder: education, technologies, and opportunities. So,
any comment from Bahago
Yeah.
and Priti? Yeah.
Yeah, we are fully support about the equal opportunities for that. And from our experience in Gadjah Mada, for innovation, which is actually based on lecturers, innovators, more than half is actually women's innovators. And we deliver that into product and finally now commercial product, especially and when we are talking about medical devices, product, things like that. So more than half the innovators is actually women. For the digital innovations, it's actually mostly students and alumni make that. I guess 40% are actually women, and on every single incubators in every single startup, it's by, I'm not quite sure whether it is by chance, I guess. There's always women in it, in the groups. So whether it's a founder or co-founders or, supported in that kind of things. So it means that, yes, we are promoting equal opportunities and we prove that in one aspect that women domination is also happening in innovation also. But we are also encouraging that more scientists coming into that kind of startup business.
Okay. If you like to comment, you don't have
yes,
to. Yeah.
Right now we don't have any specific program for promoting more female founder. The reason is that we have a contest annually organized by VNU, open up to all the students in the region. And I see that there's no inequality problem between male and female, because I count a number, the female student even larger than the male student. So I don't think that we need a specific program for female founder at our university.
You don't find in your society there is somehow maybe a female find more sort of obstacles to want to become entrepreneur, because sometimes society may say that, oh, women should not be involved in this activity, they should be at home or they should be doing other kind of work and not running businesses. You don't find this as an obstacle?
I don't feel such kind of thing at our society. Okay. But at the city level, we have a dedicated initiative that's namely called WISE.
Okay.
That focusing on, how can I say, supporting female founder to start there.
Okay, at this point, I would like to actually invite, if there are people in the room who have questions that you want to address to any of the panelists. I know some of you may be a bit mobile, digital shy to post questions, but I would like to actually invite anyone who you actually want to ask a physical question. Yeah, please show your hand, and I'm sure we will give you the mic to post the questions. Anyone? Because I do value your actual interaction and participations. This is good, but then if you don't have the actual physical interaction feel, yeah? Anyone want to personally ask the questions? Yes, please. Please, yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Prof. Wang. Actually, I'm running health services, and we have a very unique technique that we can help smokers stop smoking, curb their craving and dependency. I just wonder, how can I so-called collaborate with NUS enterprise? Can you please enlighten? Thank you.
Well, I think this is a session about Southeast Asia, so you should address the question not just to us, but more to all the universities in Southeast Asia, and presumably smoking is a challenge in all societies. So perhaps you have any thoughts about how, I guess as a general case, if an innovator have an innovative idea and say, can they work with the university to promote their technology, what would you say?
May I take the questions? Well, I think the best way to work with the university is through people, through students or faculties. So first of all, you can come and engaging with the university hub of linking with industry and presenting your needs and your proposals. And then usually university have industry liaisons to contact and deal with the industry issues. And then we connecting your issues with our faculties or students who could come and help finding ways to collaborate and engage.
Okay, anyone from the floor who want to ask another questions? Okay, maybe while you are thinking about your question, I'd like to bring our attention to the second question here, which is interesting, which is that the question is, you all have been talking about working with startups, but how about working with big companies that also like to encourage their own employees to be more innovative and maybe to spin up more new business and so on? Do you therefore have programs to actually work with companies, either train their staff to be more innovative or work with them in accelerating technology from their own company, right? So perhaps any one of you want to answer from your perspective how you work with big corporates.
Right.
You first.
Okay, so we have one program at Siam Innovation District called Innodating. Innodating means industry have an idea or have a problems. We are dating the industry with our startups and also our faculty who know how to do the stuff, who know the solution, have technologies, have research. And we do what we call a short pitch, 5 minutes or 3 to 5 minute pitch. One is I do, the other idea and I do. When idea and I do mix together, you get innovation. So as you can see from my presentation, we are engaging with some industry, for example, Thai Bev, K-Bank, and Thai Electricity Authority. At the moment, our team is now engaging with all this industry, not only providing startup solution to the company, but also training their employee too, to have a startup mindset, and also doing human capital developments in their firms. So this is how we engaging with the companies and engaging with the startups in the company. Yeah.
Okay, please, yeah.
Yes, I've got experience. Now I'm dealing, and now we are collaborating with one telco companies to enhance the ecosystem in our incubators. What we are now doing is that bring the industrial problems into our incubators, and we run together and set the programs, specific and dedicated programs, and finally lead up into 5 to 10 startups who are potentially to link up and into pipelining into the telco problems, because the telco do have their own customers, more than 2,000 clients of that. So we are actually solving the 1 or 2 clients of the company's problem. So now we are pipelining between the one that we are now doing in incubators with the one that industry is actually doing that. So we are actually go hand in hand to solve that. It takes time. So that's why we have to build a mutual trust among them. So I have to deal with the CEO of these companies, of telco companies, to make sure that they are committed of funding, and we are also committed to provide the infrastructures and as well as the the facilities to support, as well as the talents. And now we set up the curriculums together, and then leading up into end up with startup and then later on we will spin off that kind of things. So we need mutual trust, mutual benefits. And sometimes we have to fight into that kind of issues.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to add on one thing. We consider innovative big corporate company, are one of the key players in the ecosystem. So after 5 years of attracting and building the ecosystem. Since this year, we start to try to attract more innovative company to our park. And all of you know that the open innovation is one of the ways that the corporate must benefit to promote the innovation capacity. So they natural economic-driven motive between the corporate and the startup to work together. Because there are two ways that the corporate can build up the innovation capacity. The first way of doing is to build their own capacity. Another way is they invest directly to the startup, and the startup will do the innovation for them, and then they engage in their own ecosystem. So that is the way we are doing now to strengthen the collaboration with the corporate. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, last call for anyone. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. Hello, Professor Wong. Nice to meet you again. I am Hadi from ASEAN. Remember? Okay, maybe you don't remember. Okay, I bring here 32 startups from ASEAN, yeah, to this meeting. And we support, because we have the project, ASEAN Jaif project. 5 years ago, I met you here also, okay? We are talking now for two issues here that I think we need, all of us here need to work harder. First is how to make the collaboration among ASEAN sustain. We have so many organizations working. Huh? Okay, we have a lot of organizations in Southeast ASEAN working for collaboration, but all how to make it sustain. That is one issue. The second about women. We are theoretically mentioning we support women, but from the 32 startups coming, I am asking from incubators, from 32, only 7 women. So we need to work harder, all of us, not just saying it as a theory. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your reminder for us to really make sure that we, that we are not NATO, yeah? No action talk only, yeah? Okay, yes, next. Okay, you'll be the last question, yeah,
Thank
from
you.
Malaysia, yeah.
Yasmin from University of Malaya, Malaysia. Actually, my question is for universities in ASEAN. All of us have our different strengths in our countries, and all of us, amazing programs. But what is the move for us to jointly get together and solve our common problems through our startups? And what about the formation of transboundary startups with components from different? Have a university got a role to create a truly ASEAN university startup?
Okay, I know it's an interesting question, but we have only 1 minute left. So I will ask my panelist members to give a very short answer, if possible, about how your own university propose to address these questions.
Can I?
Yes.
Sure. Just simple. Just please come and see me and discuss without that, and go for it in a second.
Okay, Nacha.
Okay, to address the cross-ASEAN communities, we have just recently launched ASEAN University Network, University Innovation and Enterprise. So 30-member university, ASEAN University member, the presidents agreed to set up this network. So we can work across university through this network. So ask your presidents and innovation office at your university how we can link all together.
And actually, Professor Yasmin has also have a UStart, which is also a network. So perhaps these two networks should work together, yeah? Okay, I'm afraid we just run out of time. So please join me in thanking the panel for wonderful sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.